Today's topic, one versus the crowd, and why it's important, why you should choose it, and where to go from here. In all honesty, this isn't really an easy topic, and it changes from person to person because the experiences help shape what you come in contact with, as well as what is important to you. But in short, having to step away from relationships and refocus and reprioritize for myself has been a real hard step to make, because relationships, they are what I have wanted for years, and finding that it is like banging my head up against the wall, I've had to try to find different alternative. I've had to focus on so much else to try to make them work. Career is first and foremost here when it comes down to it. Then second would probably be my faith, what I believe, and to try to always see what I can take to improve myself, because that's the kind of person I am. I don't like the thought of somehow failing or making mistakes or being imperfect in some way, shape, or form. I don't like it. But I will say that not everyone has the same drives. It's just for me. However, running against a crowd is hard at times because you go up against opposition. You have to find ways to try to deal with other people, and many people will quote the Bible verse where you're supposed to turn the cheek when you get hit, and if someone takes your coat, you should give them your shirt. If someone forces you to walk a mile, you should walk an extra mile. That is slightly different in terms. It's slightly different application than trying to make it out in the real world. It's a little bit different. When you're trying to survive, it's definitely a good goal to go for, but it's not. I don't think that'll actually help you live. However, some of this is a faith-based. Some of these are decisions that you will make based upon what you believe, not just because it's for the best or whatever you're aiming for. If it's going to achieve some goal, then usually that's what people go for. But going back to what I was saying about opposition here, how you handle the opposition and the challenges helps define who you are as a person. And being able to see your limitations, your strengths, and what your triggers are really goes a long way. Most people can't go against the crowd. Most people don't really have the stomach or the galls to stand up and state their own preference or what they're aiming for. Now, some people rather try to fight it out, while other people rather just simply lurk in the background and just go do their own thing anyway, just not bring attention to themselves. If you're looking to get by with the least amount of problems and drama, then that's the way to go. You may not leave much of a mark on others, though, which Christians and a few others of different faiths are known to do. They're a bit loud and they leave their mark on others when they make a decision. The only real thing that I've noticed about that is the fact that when people are called out as fake or frauds, it becomes that much more apparent, and they become known as a hypocrite. They don't walk the walk, but they sure as anything will talk about it for who knows how long, for days, years, whatever. But by that time, when you actually see them become a hypocrite, they just become discredited. Like, everything they've done doesn't matter. It just gets thrown out the window. I would have to argue one very fine point that does matter, and that is whether or not you're taking things too personal. If this is someone you don't know and they've released a lot of good quality that you happen to like, yeah, you don't need to take that personal. I mean, you can. Some people will, though, and they'll take and throw everything out the window just because of a person becoming a hypocrite and whatever else that has happened. There is some evangelist, I'm trying to remember his name, who he was caught in something with like a sex ring with a whole bunch of others, and he was very secretive. I mean, most people that was close to him still didn't know him. However, it wasn't until after he had died, like it was about a year after he died, is when victims started stepping forward, and yeah, like there's a whole storm of problems and issues that just kind of erupted. I don't know how long after his death. I would probably say within around 6 months of his death. And I'm trying to remember his name. I don't remember off the top of my head here. But he left quite an impact on a lot of people when he was alive, and then a very different impact when he died and his past was exposed, and what kind of a man he was, as well as him being a very double-sided man with different standards. That's a bit of a side point, though. Going against the crowd, the best advice that has been passed on that seems to be very important, though, is separating your private life from your public life, separating your pleasure from your work, and making sure that there is a need-to-know basis with those who you're in contact with. I'm sure there's a better way of saying that, though. As far as Christians go, there is one other point that I wanted to touch on that I've talked with several different others that has been very interesting. The power that is behind people, it does change. And what I mean by that is, whatever is used to empower or to power up the person behind, it varies from person to person. For some people, it is their faith, it is their belief. And for others, and I've talked to a few witches, and it's very interesting to see what they believe in as well as what they use. This may seem very odd, but the idea is having a power source to help you through the hard times and what it is. Because honestly, there's a lot of very weak people, and there's a lot of others who are struggling. So getting through the day requires something extra, whether it be something that, like, alcohol at the end of the day, whether it be sex, or whether it be some sort of your parts of your faith, friends, family, food, the gym. Everyone uses something to help them out through the rest of the day, and when they're in hard, difficult times and trying to face a crowd. That'll take some time, though, because A, you can get addicted and you might have to deal with that. B, as you're aging and maturing, you're seeing that this stuff changes. What you did 5 years ago may not be what you're doing now. In all honesty, everyone and everything does change, but it won't all be all at once. Regardless, though, going against the crowd is not something that should be done. You should take some time. Excuse me. You should take some time to think about who you are facing and what you're doing, as well as your plan later down the road, because it's never really as simple or as easy as you think it would be. Especially if there's an organization or a company that you're actually going up against. If you are seen as some sort of a threat, the consequences are going to be something you're going to have to deal with or face. Now, granted, That's probably not going to happen to too many people, though. Don't need to worry about that. The most common one seems to be dealing with your significant other's parents or family and learning how to stand up to them and sometimes against them. Now, for others, it's learning how to stand up against your parents. In all honesty, I think a crowd can be described as 4 or more people, but don't quote me on that. Either way, learning your limitations, learning who you are as a person, learning how you handle things and what way you go about doing so really goes a long way. All right. Until next time.